to the Homeless in America podcast, hosted by Metro Relief. We're diving into the deep end of homelessness and exploring ways you can help your community. Get ready for relevant stories from the streets with special guests and the leadership of Metro Relief.
Welcome, everybody, to Homeless in America podcast. Like always, I'm joined with my co-host, Charlie.
Hello, how you doing?
Hey, good, right on cue. I'm also joined today with Wendy.
Yeah, hello.
Wendy.
Everybody say Wendy.
Hello,
All right.
hello.
You guys, today we really want to talk about the complexities of homelessness, really the problem and the issues that kind of go along with homelessness. I think we see a little glimpse of it. Sometimes we see it on an overpass or coming off of interstate and they're off, trying to panhandle. That might be one place we see it. On TV, we do see it sometimes. But really, I want to talk to you guys. You guys know people that sleep outside. You know lots of them. And you've been around lots of people that sleep outside. We really want to talk about what's really going on out there. What caused their homelessness? And is that something that maybe we can solve? I'm sure we're not going to get to all the solutions, but I'd really like to talk about the problem of homelessness today. You guys get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yes,
it makes
it does.
sense. Yeah.
I've been doing this for 15 years, and it amazes me still to this day that the stories that I hear and the even firsthand look at and see, like, that never happened before. And almost every person that's outside has a different reason for being there.
Yeah.
It's like a breakdown of the family and stuff, all kinds of different issues of addiction, mental illness, lack of wanting to get right. You're wanting to be out there. You have no hope.
Yeah.
There's all these things that go together. And then there's these one-offs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just the other day, I ran into a guy, and he was able to tell me his first name, and he was able to tell me his last name, I thought. And his last name, I could say this, but not his full name, but his last name was Wainwright. But that actually wasn't his last name.
Oh, yeah.
It was his middle name was Wayne, and his last name was Wright.
Yeah.
But every time he said his name, it was Wainwright, Wainwright, Wainwright.
Yeah.
And that was the only thing he was getting right,
Yeah.
because the guy was not there.
Yeah.
He was completely gone. And the only thing he got right was Wainwright, Wainwright. I'm like, finally, I figured out after a while that was his middle name. And I feel like some of these things that we're dealing with, like mental illness with that guy, because he couldn't tell me his social security, couldn't tell me his date of birth. But I was able to find him on HMIS, which is crazy, which stands for Homeless Management Information System.
Yeah.
I was able to find him, and dude, barely. But yeah, he had been in the system 3 years ago and only for one night. But this dude, I don't know where he came from, where he was sleeping at, but we got him for like a week. And the week that we had him, it was, dude, mental illness was so present that the only thing that he kept with himself was himself.
Yeah.
Like, you only keep what you got on. That's how mentally ill he was. And this is something that at the same time I was dealing with this guy, I got one of those ding, 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 ding on my phone. Looked down at it, and it was a silver alert. And I'm like, who's calling the silver alert for this dude?
Yeah.
Who's missing this dude? And one of the things that registered to me like right then is like, we don't actually, who's the silver alert for a homeless person?
Yeah.
And this dude didn't have an ID, didn't have underwear, just had his pants, his shirt, and that's it.
Yeah.
When I found him sleeping, he was sleeping with no blanket and no pillow. Like, dude doesn't even know. Anyway, you guys get what I'm talking about. There's this huge problem. Let's talk about some of those issues. What are you guys seeing out there?
Well, for me, I think no one makes a decision to be homeless,
Yeah.
right?
Something happens to you.
Something happens. And everyone's something is different.
Mm.
Everyone's level of something, what puts them over the top, is different.
Yeah.
But I want to touch on what you just said. Who's doing the silver alert for this guy, right?
Yeah.
So let's take any homeless person.
Yeah.
Where's the family?
Right.
right?
Yeah, we asked that.
But it's bittersweet. You can't blame the family,
Right.
because number one, we don't know. And at what point did the family, if they did, let go?
Right.
Right?
Wendy,
Yeah.
you're a police officer, so you probably realize that there are times where family needs to say, get
Yes.
out
Yeah.
and don't
Yeah.
come back.
Yeah. Especially if there's some type of addiction, illegal
Yeah.
drugs.
Yeah.
You know.
Abuse,
Yeah.
physical.
Yeah. You
Right.
you cannot keep that. Okay, so like say take a bowl of fruit. You have an
What
apple,
kind of fruit? Okay.
an apple, an orange, a banana, and a pear.
Yeah.
Right? All fruit are good. If you damage one, the good fruit don't make the bad fruit good. The bad fruit make the good fruit bad.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I think when I see a person who is estranged from their family and now they are homeless. You can't keep that bad fruit in the bowl,
Yeah.
because the good fruit don't turn the bad fruit better.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
That's
know?
a good point.
Yeah. So you can't, a lot of us quick to say, oh man, I mean, what kind of family would let this person go? Well, what kind of family will let
Yeah.
them go? There's a reason why. If the family, you may have family members that are reaching out for them, looking for them.
Yeah.
Maybe this person doesn't want to be found. For what reason? We have to find out.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. Charles.
Oh, I
Charlie.
wrote down. It's all right. I wrote down. Well, mental illness, I think, is one of the most complex issues to get people help with. And there's like a healthcare
Yeah.
crisis. I think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think there's services out there for people, but the services aren't easily attained or gotten. It takes a lot of work on the person's part. And then I also, generational.
Mhm.
There's a family you and I know, and
Yeah.
it's 4 generations of people on the streets, and it's all women.
Mhm.
So all the way down.
Mhm.
Great mom, you
No
know
way.
what? Yeah.
Yeah.
And now
For real.
they've got a young daughter that's involved. So
Yeah.
it's 4 generations working on that. But I wanted to talk about
Mhm.
families that have to have people go out. That's real close to my heart. But my thing I want to say is what came to my mind when you mentioned that was the prodigal father and the prodigal son. There is a time where you have to ask somebody to walk out, but in the Bible, I don't think it says anywhere that you throw your child out. But the prodigal father, when he threw him out, and I think this relates in the natural and the spiritual, the prodigal father gave him his inheritance.
Yeah. He didn't throw him out though.
He said, I'm out.
Yeah.
He's
him-
going to leave.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he gave him
Yeah.
the inheritance when he left.
Yeah.
So you are right, he didn't throw him out.
Right.
But that's so hard to do. And we meet so many people on the street who they've burnt the bridges. The
Yeah.
time came to the end, and I understand that completely, where you just had to get
Yeah.
the bad fruit out of the bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, using the prodigal father and son as an example, there's only 2 places in the Bible where you know of a man running, and that's one.
Yeah.
Even though his son asks for his,
That's good.
and remember, he wasn't even the oldest son because it wasn't even supposed to be divided yet. He asked for his. He went off and done what he wanted to do, and his dad saw him off afar and ran to him. So when I think of the families
good.
that have, members out there that are homeless, there's still someone at home looking for that prodigal,
Yeah.
and they'll run to them. That's why we do try to contact the families.
Yeah, with diversion.
Yeah.
So
diversion.
their silver alert is gone.
Yeah.
They don't have one.
Yeah.
I ain't got one.
Yeah.
And the mental illness.
We are,
Yeah.
if we get to capture them, but
Yeah.
that's only a.
Well, the
Yeah.
thing about a silver alert is that someone's looking for them.
Yeah.
Well,
No one's looking
no,
for these
well,
guys.
not well. You have to be. There has to be circumstances, right? Either the person is in danger to themselves and or others.
Yeah.
Diagnosed mental illness.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. If not, then that person is just a concern for welfare. You're just looking for a family member.
Yeah.
And then when you find them, you have to ask them whether or not they want anyone to know
Yeah.
that you found them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You know?
there's a complex issue I can think of is I have a friend that my wife and I know, and her son is like 55, and Nan is like a little older.
Mhm.
I don't want her to hear this and get mad at me, but her son relapsed, and he's 55, 56 years old, and he wouldn't leave her front porch. So we tried to get the police to do something, and they couldn't legally because he got mail there, and I understand that. But what was nice about the Allen Police Department is they walked us through it, but she had to go and do a court order
Eviction.
to get him, not an eviction, a mental
Illness warrant.
yeah, a mental illness warrant, and they did it really quick, and he was sent to the hospital and got services, and it helped him out and got him back on his feet.
Mhm.
You know,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so we didn't know. I had just started Metro Relief,
Yeah. I didn't
you
know
know,
what
and
to do.
I'm with her every Wednesday, and we're
Yeah.
trying to work it out. So it was but that was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And the police were willing to help. But
Yeah.
you think, oh, I'm calling the cops on this guy, you know, and he's an addict, but he wouldn't leave the porch.
Yeah.
I went and talked to him.
One of the issues that I've seen over and over and over with homeless people is alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
Well, okay, so let's touch on that. Alcohol. What is alcohol illegal?
No, it's
No.
legal. I can drink.
If
You
you're
can drink.
suffering from anything, you can medicate yourself with what's that new one?
Hand
411 or whatever? Yeah, literally.
No,
Is it what is it?
311. You talking about the alcohol?
The drink, yeah.
Yeah, it's like malt liquor, and
Yeah.
then people drinking 24 ounces of malt liquor,
Yeah.
and they drink a couple of them, they lit.
Yeah.
Stuff's
Yeah.
weird too.
Yeah. But you've medicated yourself for what, $1.09? Whatever
Yeah,
it is.
it's cheap.
It's
Yeah.
cheap, yeah. So we
Hand
know
sanitizer has 75% alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
We had a friend who passed away, died
Yeah.
on the streets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Drank hand sanitizer for
Yeah.
most of his adult life.
What's up with alcohol? I mean, it seems
it's easy. It's
just-
legal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
that's
know-
what you're saying. $1.09,
Yeah.
311. Okay.
Yeah, it's like you had said earlier on, Boone's Farm, MD 2020.
Oh, Four Locos.
Yeah, it's not illegal to have alcohol.
Right.
So people will give us hand sanitizer here, and we have to look at the alcohol content.
Mhm.
So they have to be alcohol free. We gave them out, and then you found out on the
I was
street,
just-
right?
You're just looking over and you're like, oh my goodness, that dude just drank that hand
Yeah.
sanitizer.
Yeah, and so we you know, this a few years ago, but it's like people say, "Oh, I've got a whole truckload of hand sanitizer," and we're like, "Can you look on the label for us?
Yeah.
85, 90% alcohol."
Come
and
to
makes
find
them,
out.
stuff makes them go blind.
Yeah, come to find out, if you're an alcoholic, you actually would like to get yourself some hand sanitizer. It's free,
Yeah, it's free.
and it's heavy
yeah.
alcohol.
yeah. Yeah.
So alcohol's crazy. It just
It seems
Sure.
like it
Yeah.
grabs a hold of people, and even there's a young guy I'm thinking about, younger, and he just won't give it up. It just keeps taking him. We keep taking
Yeah.
him back to rehab.
Yeah.
It just keeps taking.
You know, I didn't understand what an addiction was, right?
Yeah.
I used to smoke cigarettes
Yeah.
years ago. And
What do
I'm
you guys call them over in London?
I'm not going to say it. I am not going to say it. I'm not going to say it.
I
Nope.
like that. Okay,
Nope.
go ahead.
So
Sorry.
anyway,
Get you in trouble.
yeah, really. So I'm cheap, you know.
Yeah.
So I went to the store and I gave the man $10 and asked him for some cigarettes, and he gave me $1 and something change. And I stood there and I looked at him, and he looked at me and I looked at him. He looked at me when I was looking at him, and he said, "Anything else?" And I said, "Well, you only gave me $1 and something."
Mm.
He said, "Yeah, well, you know, they went up." So I said, "Look, let's do this. I'm gonna give you back the cigarettes. You give me back my $10. You would never have to see me again." And I gave up cigarettes. Cigarettes.
yeah.
Just because they're too expensive.
But let me tell you, I know without a shadow of a doubt for about 3 weeks, I went through withdrawals.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you how I made it to work sometimes. Because I used to smoke 2 cigarettes going into work and smoke 2 cigarettes coming out. That's just nicotine.
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just imagine if you're hooked on something else.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah. I mean, alcohol, you can die when you
Yeah.
detox on it.
But who thinks of that?
And heroin.
Who thinks of
Alcohol
that?
detox
Right.
is worse than heroin.
Yeah. But the average person, you can get alcohol at 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning now.
Yeah.
So who thinks of anyone overdosing
So
on alcohol?
What? Didn't used to you couldn't buy alcohol on Sunday?
10 o'clock.
Oh, yeah. That was a
10
long time
o'clock.
ago.
10 a.m. you
Oh,
can get.
okay.
So do you see how easy
That's
it
how our
is?
friends on the street.
Yeah.
All
Well,
day,
But
every
they
day.
they started
All day.
like some people we know. When they started drinking, more than likely they didn't say, "Oh boy, I'm going to live on the streets in
Oh.
1, 2, 3, 4, 10 years."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It started out like me, you
Yeah.
know. And I had somebody that cared. My family intervened on me, and I got
Mhm.
blessed. But I was finally tired of being tired.
Yeah.
And I just got that when you said alert in my head, you know, that was mine, my family. And when you meet our friends on the street, they have nothing.
Yeah.
And when we do diversion or call family and reconnect them, they're always like, we'll call him Frank, the
Yeah.
guy when we were doing the point in time count. And we called his mom and everything, and he had a call with his brother. His brother hung up, and,
Yeah.
you know, I was standing right by him, and it was not a good conversation. He hadn't talked to his mom in 10 years and his brother in 6. And he took off, but we had him use one of our employees'
Yeah.
phones. And then the mother texted, and then the brother ends up calling, and they reconciled. And then within a few days, you know,
He was
we
back
got
home.
him.
Yeah.
We got him back, and that was Anaheim, California.
Yeah.
So he didn't think he had anybody, but we were able to reconnect or reconnect him to his family like that.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about mental illness, and we talked a little bit about addiction. What other things are hard that you guys are seeing out there?
Well, think about it. As we're seeing the highest growing population of people that are homeless right now are women with children. The average age of the children is 6 years old.
Wow.
So that population is growing, right? If you look at a lot of the males, not all, but majority of them are homeless because of some addiction. A lot of the women, they're homeless because of family violence. And most of the children go with the women.
Yeah.
But the women have an added factor in when it comes to being homeless. They're women,
Yeah. Right.
right? So try being a woman out here.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Okay.
it breaks my heart.
Yeah, try being a woman out here. Doesn't matter what you look like, just try being a woman.
Yeah.
Okay? You know that if you're not linked to someone, you're game.
Right.
Yeah.
We've got women that do a number 1 and number 2 on themselves and spread it all over themselves. Why? That's a defense mechanism.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
Who thinks of that?
Yeah.
You know, everyone thinks, oh, homelessness, blah, blah, blah. You have to survive out there.
Yeah,
Right.
it's really bad.
Yeah. And imagine having a child that you're responsible for. Like the
Right.
lady that we met at the hotel that one time.
Oh yeah, with the young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember that.
And you can look at the children and tell how long they've been out here because they have that
And they'd been out.
that stoic affect.
Yeah.
You know, they're used to this type of environment and they just sitting there.
They're just like it's
Stoic.
no big deal.
Yeah, it's no big deal.
Especially that person's
Yeah.
daughter. Yeah, her. and
Yeah,
her
if you
daughter.
think about how she was not
Oh.
reacting,
Yeah.
you know that she's been out here long enough.
Yeah.
Just imagine what she's seen.
Right.
Yeah. On that particular situation, we made some steps
Yeah, yeah.
and tried to keep track of her, and then we were concerned about the daughter.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was it was the right thing to do.
It was. It was hard. You started saying it. It was hard.
But it was just, oh my gosh. And she reached out to us, and I always thought it was like the Lord,
Mm-hmm.
God looking out for that little girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was horrible.
So, you know, homelessness has many facets, right? Because everyone who's homeless has a story.
Mm-hmm.
No two people that are homeless made it to that actual situation or that location the same.
Mm-hmm.
And then you throw in a child,
Yeah.
or even if you throw in an addiction, without take away all those elements, take away all of that, just the fact that you're homeless. Anyone who's watching, you know, I guarantee you a percentage of our viewers today have been camping before, right?
Yeah. I've been camping.
Right. When you go camping, but you prepare for it, don't you?
Yeah.
Right.
You got a tent.
Yeah, you got tent. You
backpack,
got your s'mores.
Fire starter.
You know, the
Got
kids are
tent.
like,
Did you say
"Are we-
s'mores?
You got a
s'mores?"
tent?
Yeah,
S'mores?
s'mores.
He's got a tent and
He's
some
got a
s'mores.
tent. Is that a tent?
Tent.
Yeah, you got a tent. You know, he's country. But, you know, you've got,
He
you
is.
prepare for
Tent.
it, right? And you reserve the area, you
Yeah.
go, and everyone's, yeah, are we there? Yeah. And you get out,
Yeah.
and then 2-3 days, and everything's
Yeah.
great. And then you're back. Well, okay, take away all the fun.
Yeah.
And you had to stay. You have to be prepared too. Like being outside, sleeping outside, and not having a home, that means you don't have a bathroom.
Nothing.
So one of the worst experiences is when you go backpacking, because I've been backpacking before, no bathroom, right?
Mhm.
But you bring paper with you. You got to
Mhm.
figure out something to do.
Mhm.
But if you're outside, nowhere to go,
Mhm.
you got to find a place. I mean, I just,
Mhm.
that breaks my heart.
No
Like,
paper
Yeah.
too. No paper.
no paper
No
usually.
paper.
Yeah.
Not trying to be funny,
Right.
but it's okay for
Yeah.
you for
Yeah.
right when
Yeah, I get it. It's hard.
I'm trying to be
It's-
politically correct. Right?
Yeah. And we actually give out napkins on the bus because we know
Yeah.
that women need them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even know how to.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
okay.
I think
And it's-
everybody gets it.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I've actually been, I feel like sometimes I gotta go, gotta find
Yeah.
a place, But for the women, where would it,
Yeah. Doesn't
I forgot.
matter.
I've walked around the corner a couple times.
Yeah.
On an
I mean,
accident.
you get a bush and you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had okay.
So just
Yeah.
imagine that.
So the bathroom,
Everything.
addiction,
Everything.
no place to lay your head,
Washing yourself.
washing yourself.
Don't let it be that time of month. And I'm digging it, right? Because I'm
Yeah.
a woman,
Yeah.
And I'm thinking
that's
when
serious.
I see
Yeah.
these ladies out there, because they're
Mhm.
ladies, they're
Yeah.
women,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, how do you do it? My hat's off to you.
There was a
Yeah.
You know?
yeah, man. I don't know.
We
My-
give out feminine hygiene kits
Yeah.
too. We always
Yeah.
have them available, which is nice.
Yeah. But even again, I know I went down that rabbit hole, but my thing
No,
is
that's all right.
just, it's not camping. It's not, what is it? National Lampoon.
Lampoon's Vacation.
It's not like that.
Uh,
You take away the fun. The reality of it
Yeah.
is, have you ever closed your eyes and slept?
yeah.
Well, you're lucky, because if you're homeless, you don't close your eyes and sleep.
No, they're usually up all night,
Yeah.
sleeping during the day
Sleep
because
during
it's
the day.
dangerous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good point. So you're sleep deprived,
Oh, yeah.
addicted, no place to actually use the restroom, wash yourself and/or use the restroom.
Mm-hmm.
The complex, and then you probably are. You got the trimorbid effect, at least what
Yeah,
we call it
there you
around
go.
here,
Yeah,
which is people who are addicted, have a physical disability, and a mental.
Yeah.
So if you're physically disabled, where you can't walk, or
Yeah.
you're in a chair, you're in
Yeah.
a walker, or you just can't make it very far. I mean, shoot, it seems like the older I get, the less
Yeah.
I can travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're able.
Yeah.
So what I wrote down here was the weather.
And then
Yeah.
you got the weather.
We've got the two extremes.
Weather.
Yeah, we have the two extremes.
yeah.
The extremely hot and the extremely cold. Both of them are just as dangerous. When we had that cold front come in, you're in a camp, you light a fire. This is going to sound off, right? But we had a gentleman that put his feet to the fire.
Oh yeah.
It was so cold that he put his feet literally to the fire. I have the pictures. His feet, it burnt his feet,
Yeah.
but he didn't feel it.
Because he had a
Frostbite.
Frostbite.
Put his feet to the fire.
His feet
His
were
feet
numb.
swole up. Yeah, right.
Jeez.
So we saw him the next day. Went looking for him, and when he showed me his feet, I called the ambulance.
Yeah.
They took him. They cut both of his feet off.
Gee whiz. Jeez.
I had one of my toes cut off. I mean, I really did, but it has
You gotta love
nothing.
it.
Has nothing to do with.
Has
You
nothing
gotta
to
love
do
it.
with
That's
that
why
guy.
you
love
kind of wobble when
He
you
wobbles,
walk.
yeah. wobble. But you see what I mean?
Oh,
I
that
mean,
hurts.
we've got a family. The mum lost a finger, frostbite.
Yeah.
Mhm. There's something interesting about the weather, and this just because I was in New York for a while doing this,
Mhm.
and people are homeless in Alaska. People are homeless in extreme heat too. The body is amazing. The human body can withstand a lot,
Yeah.
and if you prepare your body, like if you, no, I'm not saying don't feel sorry for the homeless
Mhm.
people, but what I'm saying is if you're in the north and you can acclimate a little bit more to the north.
Right.
If you're in the south, you can acclimate a little bit more in the south. But then when the extremes hit, and it
Yeah.
happened this past winter, when the extremes hit here, people die just like they do
Yeah.
in New York because the extreme drop in temperature, your body isn't used to that cold. If you got your body used to it
Yeah.
over a few months, then
Yeah.
you'll be able to handle it being outside like they do up north.
Right.
But down here, it hit so quickly. There were
Mhm.
people that were dying
Yeah.
of just dying being cold.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Freeze to death.
Yeah.
That's what they call it.
Yeah.
What is that? Pronounced? I mean, freeze to death, right?
Yeah. Yeah. They
freeze to
froze.
death.
They froze.
A lot of alcohol is in that too, because if
It
you're
thins the blood.
and if you want to stay warm, and you can drink some alcohol and get a little warmer, it actually helps.
Right, but it's a detriment to the body because
Right.
alcohol thins the blood.
Yeah.
So
man.
if I'm out there, I'm like, I want to get a little warmer, and you ain't realizing, all of
Yeah.
a sudden you ain't wake up stiff,
Yeah.
or you don't wake up, you're just
Yeah.
stiff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not as simple as people. You see a person who's homeless, but you don't see any depth. You just see that person who's homeless.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
if you look into it, if you talk to them, you'll realize there's a lot behind. They just didn't leave home and say, "Hey, I want to be homeless."
Let's talk. Yeah, let's talk about sleep deprivation just a second.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you do and what they say if you get a call for someone who has been up for hours. But one of the things that people that get sleep deprived act different.
Oh
Yeah.
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 You heard of this?
They're all they're delirious. They
Yeah.
Delirious. That's it.
yeah.
It's like they're on drugs.
Right.
Almost.
Because they tell you that being sleep deprived, if you're behind the wheel, it looks like you're
Drunk.
it looks like you're drunk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So just imagine, take away the element of the vehicle, you're still acting delirious.
Yeah.
And it's sleep deprivation.
I remember watching this show. I think it was the Cosby Show, for real. And Claire Huxtable was in the bed. She looked over and she said, "I just want 8 hours of good sleep." And that's the other thing. You can't get steady,
No.
continuous sleep
No.
on the street.
Yeah.
No,
Almost no matter what time.
Yeah. No, because you
The-
can't sleep.
They're up. When I went, I mean, you've done night outreach, but
Yeah.
when I went to Los Angeles Dream Center, we went out at night and everybody was up.
Yeah.
They're up all night because sometimes it's not safe to sleep.
Yeah.
And that's why some of the chronic or real isolated homeless people, like out in the suburbs, they're out there. People say, I had to go to a neighborhood in a local city, and they were like, "What's she doing here?" And I said, "It's safe."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she's
Yeah.
sleeping in my bushes, at the
Yeah.
front sign to the $500,000 home neighborhood.
Yeah.
I said, well, because she's out here because it's safe.
Yeah.
And there's a bus stop right there. And I'll
Yeah.
bet you she goes into town and comes back out. How long she been here? About 4 days. I said, she's safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll help her,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. For a little while, she's safe.
The weather is, there's a guy named Anthony. We got a call from, shout out to Metro Crest. And we got a call. So we went out and met somebody that they told us about, Kylie and I. And this guy was under the bridge. He's in a suburb. There's nobody really around. And he's got a nice little layout. He has all of his IDs. He's a veteran. And we were able to help him pretty quick. But the rainstorm came through.
Mm.
You remember that big rain we got?
Mhm.
And we went back like 3 days later. And it was that day after the rain. It was real hard to get back there. And he had lost everything
Yeah.
he had.
Yeah.
And it just the rainstorm. He thought he was probably safe and in a
Yeah.
good spot, but we had so much rain, it was like a monsoon came through that little
Mhm.
tunnel.
Wow.
Just think how bad he feels, and he has to start
And
all
he
over
couldn't
again.
sleep, and he stayed out because he could get more sleep out away from an encampment or anything.
See? Yeah, there's
It's just a lot
They
of
don't
stuff.
get a lot of rest.
no.
And they're dealing with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Because a lot of them are asking themselves, how did I get here?
Yeah.
How do I even get out of this? Do I want to get out? If I do, where am I going?
The addicts are going to blame right away the drug. They're going to look at the drug, but when you get to know them and do street ministry and talk to them, you find out their trauma,
Yeah.
some other things.
Yeah. You guys are great for talking about this. It's this hard stuff to talk about because it is so deep.
Mm-hmm.
These issues aren't particular to one city. I think they're
No.
all
Across the nation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even in
without a doubt.
small town America.
Yeah. I mean, I tell people, you got, car homelessness, right? Go to your Walmart, Target,
yeah.
Kroger parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You'll
that's
see
true.
families.
That's true.
The kids still go to school
Oh, and the
every day.
Walmart down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We help families that end up there. We send them home, fix
Yeah.
their cars.
Yeah. I mean, Walmart is safe because the lights on
Yep.
in the parking lot.
Got a camera.
Has a camera. You know, you can go into Walmart and
Use the
hit the
restroom.
hot spots. Yeah.
There was the guy that I met at the park with you, and
The
he
one
was
you took
living
to
in his car.
Oklahoma. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you met him, and we thought that, hey, let's try to get him into transitional living or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So we went to pick him up, and he had to get out of the park.
Yeah.
So we ended up taking him to transitional living. He
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
like it.
I remember this guy.
So then I start taking him around to different shelters, and I
Mhm.
get to know him for a couple days. And then on the second day, he starts talking about his brother.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, your brother? Yeah, my older brother.
Yeah.
Well, where's he at? Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I'm like, when's the last time you talked to him? A couple years. And we sit down and we talk to his brother, and his brother says, I didn't know he was homeless.
Mm.
And he said, I talked to him a couple weeks ago. And I said, well, I just don't think he wanted to tell you. I can confirm he's homeless because you knew. Anyways, we fixed his car, got him some gas, put him in a hotel so he could take a nice shower. And then he left for Tulsa, and he called me when he got to his brother's and sent a picture. And his brother, I talked to him about a month ago, and he's getting into a program and a mission we told him about that's up that way, and he got reunited with his mom, and it was so interesting to watch it flow and just go the way that it went. It was pretty cool
That's
to watch.
cool. He was sleeping in his car.
In a park.
That's why I brought it up, because he was sleeping in his car.
One of the things I wanted to just before we get done with this complexities is that the places that people are homeless, or at least in the major cities across America, the places where you find homeless people are usually the places that you find the most crime. It's not always true in all of our places, but usually it is. And when I worked in New York, it was everywhere we went seemed like the hood. And I think one of the complexities is violence in New York.
Oh, yeah.
In New York, it was unreported crime, but also, I don't know why. I think the gangbangers would initiate by setting homeless people on fire.
Mm-hmm.
The only place to sleep is on the sidewalk in New York. And another thing about the violence is that you talked a lot about the women. It seems like it's very prevalent. The violence. I remember this lady. Her name was Rhonda. And she got her check, and she opened up when she got her money, she opened it like this, and she had it in that bank envelope you get, and she took it out of the bank envelope, and she just fanned it a little bit. There were 6 $100 bills. That was her check. This guy saw it, and he was about 50 yards away. It was almost like he ran. Cold cocked her. She passed away.
Mm-hmm.
He got that $600.
Mm-hmm.
But he cold cocked her in just the right way. She passed away. I'm like, man, just the wrong place, the wrong time, really. And, so I just feel like the violence. And when I was in the Bronx, it was 183rd, the Grand Concourse. It was one of the worst days of my life. It was 11 o'clock in the morning, and we were hanging out at the bus, serving some people. One of my good friends, Mr. Gary, if you're listening, shout out. He was a guy that was homeless forever, and he got some help, and he was standing there too, I think, that day. And we had this youth group from North Carolina up there, a bunch of country bumpkins, and we were in the back of the bus, and all of a sudden I heard pop, pop, and I knew it was a gunshot as soon as I heard it. Everybody that was from the Bronx looked where the gunshots were coming from. Everybody that was from North Carolina was on the sidewalk, sprawled out.
Oh, yeah, I would be. I would be too.
Yeah.
I started walking towards the gunshots, and that was dumb too. I don't know why I did that, but right as soon as there was 6 of them, pop, 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 and then there was 2, 2, and 2, and then the dude came running around the corner, and he had the gun down to his side. So when I first saw him come around the corner, he had a do-rag on, and so it came back like that. I looked at his face just barely, but then I looked down at because he was geeking. He was like kind of excited. His adrenaline was pumping. And he was almost running like running back, like there was somebody who was trying to dodge.
Yeah.
Like, and then I looked at the gun, it was smoking. So I was like, oh, he's the guy that just freaking fired it. There was a car parked right behind the bus. It was a Cutlass. He got in that car, took off. But it was only about 10 yards away from me whenever he got in the car
Oh,
with the
geez.
gun in his hand. And it was the Bronx, and everybody standing around. If all the old school people that's ever seen the show Fort Apache, that's the precinct that's in. Anyway,
Oh,
we're hanging out. We're hanging out. Then the police line forms. I mean, they got there quick. Everybody got there quick, and cops back in the day, detectives, you know this. When anybody see anything, anybody hear anything?
yeah.
It's like, I didn't see nothing, man. I didn't see nothing. I'm like, you're starting to feel convicted. I'm like, well, I saw everything.
You
So-
told?
So I walked straight through
Aw.
the line. I had to part the C's. I walked underneath the police tape, and they kind of like, what the heck you doing? I was like, man, I saw everything. Everybody was in. All of a sudden, I became
Yeah.
the center of attention.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We were, I mean, this was barely right as soon as the ambulance got there. The guy was basically dying on the sidewalk, and the detectives are already asking anybody see anything, anybody hear
Yeah.
anything. And these dudes look like they just look like undercover. It's so easy to tell who they are. And like crew cut, haircut,
Yeah.
trying to wear jorts and a
Try to wear who?
jorts, jean shorts.
Oh.
Jorts. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just you could tell that they were undercover. White dudes wearing jean shorts with the crew cut and a Mets
Yeah.
jersey.
And Oakley sunglasses.
Did they ever get the guy?
okay.
Do you know if
Did,
they ever got the
firstly,
guy?
did the guy die?
That's a great question, and that's an even better one. He did die. He
Okay.
died within 60 minutes. He was
Okay.
falling on the. It was sad. It was basically just a confrontation about drugs and who sold where.
Okay.
And I went and looked at a lineup. Or no, I went and looked at this book, a whole bunch of different faces. I'm like, dude, I don't know. Yeah, just a whole bunch of pictures. I'm like tired of looking at pictures. I finally said, no, it's nobody else in there. Look, I done. Like I was just, it didn't make sense to look at these pictures. I barely recognized the guy, you know, but I know what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
They were trying to say, was anything sparking interest? And then I got a phone call, probably 6 months after that. Maybe it was a year. And they said, hey, we found the guy.
Oh, wow.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, we think we found the guy. Are you willing to do a lineup? I'm like, so you mean like in the TV shows, the movies, like a lineup? That's what you guys really do, that stuff? And they said, yeah, are you willing to do one? I said, of course, if I can figure it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's nothing like that movie. Shoot, I went to that Fort Apache little precinct area. They brought me up into this room. And the only thing that they did is they took me into a hallway and they put these dudes in a room and they turned the light on in the room and the light off in the hallway. So they could see me. The light was coming in through that little window. It's not, I didn't have no two-way mirror. I mean, it was just a freaking piece of glass, man. They could have came and busted through it if they wanted to. Anyway, I was freaking out a little. And they brought 6 people in, and then they do this weird thing where they put a blanket over everybody. So they make everybody hold a blanket. And every last one of them had a do-rag on. I'm like, I guess because I told you guys one.
That's right.
Yeah, I told you guys that. And then someone else must have told you that. So they all got do-rags on. And I'm like, number 3. It's like, how sure are you? I said, 80%.
Oh.
I said, I'm not 100%. I'm not
Yeah.
thinking you should base this on that. But it's number 3. And they said, all right, thanks. They take me to the other room, come back, talk to me a little bit. They said, yeah, it's number 3.
There you go.
And you're going to need to prepare to come to trial. And I'm like, what? So then I started preparing to go to trial. He copped the plea agreement, of course. That was really ridiculous, honestly. I mean, just being frank about it. But one of the craziest parts about this whole thing is that after I did the lineup, after all that's over, they put me in this room. They're like, we'll come back and get you in a few minutes and escort you out. Come on. Thank you very much. I'm used to the cops, but usually not being an advocate, I'm usually getting in trouble. So it was good that I was able to help.
Mhm.
Anyway, these dudes I'll be right back. Then they came back. We went downstairs and they're saying, man, it's good that you blah, blah, blah. Took me right out the front door. As I'm coming out the front door, dude coming in the front door, a cop was opening the front door as a cop on the outside was opening the front door as the cop on the inside was trying to open the door for me. So the cop on the outside had the actual guy I just pointed out.
Oh Lord.
The cop on the inside had me. I literally ran directly into him like this, like up against him. And I'm like, what the heck? The other cop, must have been the senior veteran, looked at the rookie and said, "You can't believe you did that." And I was like, freaking out. I just peed my pants a little bit, and then puts me in the precinct, and I go back, or takes me in the car back to where mine was. Anyway, the crazy part of the story is I feel like we are, and this is not the only time I've heard gunshots, but we are in some dangerous places usually.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, we had the advocates down at a bridge in the city of Dallas a month ago or 6 weeks ago, and they had guns, and they weren't going to let the city move them.
Yep.
And these guys all had permits, and they let them do it, but they were protecting the homeless with guns.
Yeah, it was almost like a show of force.
Yeah, it wasn't violent, but it's where we go. And I went down there while they were there and scooped up a friend of mine, along with shout out to City Square, to get a guy so he could get some medical help. And now we've gotten him into an apartment in a retirement home. It was pretty crazy. Those guys with the guns.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I can't believe you heard it and saw it and did all that.
Yeah.
It was hard.
Yeah.
Most of it, comes from me just really wanting justice.
Yeah.
Plus, you were young and dumb.
Yeah.
Ran towards the gunfire.
Well,
I knew it was over, but yeah.
But no, I probably would have ran towards that gunfire 20 years ago.
yeah.
Yeah, now I'm on duck.
Yeah.
No, but I
Now you need to let
mean, we do. We go around dangerous things, and
Well, talking about that was my next thing. We're very picky on who we take to, people that are
Yeah.
homeless, because you don't know
True.
ultimately their agenda or their intent.
Yeah.
I mean, you got some groups that say, yeah, we want to help, and the next minute, they tell someone who thinks it's funny
Yeah.
to go and set them on fire.
Uh-huh.
So we're very protective. I guess that's the word.
so I mean, our friends on the street have a very complex situation
Yeah.
they've maneuvered themselves into.
Yeah.
Because there's other complexities on the other side of this, even on the other side of the service side, healthcare and everything
yeah.
else. I mean, we're talking
Actually,
about
just finding the solutions is
finding,
web.
Yeah, the solutions are a web, and the friends that we help on the streets have all these things that we just talked about to deal with.
Yeah.
Gunshots, death,
Yeah.
and all this stuff. And then we haven't even got on some of the other stuff on the services side for mental health care, recovery, transitional living,
Yeah.
and all the services that are really the biggest gap,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Thank you guys for sharing today. It's hard to talk about this stuff. Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, great subject.
Great subject. Good
All
deal.
right. Peace out.
Yeah.
Like what you heard? Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Our team will respond to any questions you have. This podcast depends on support from its viewers, and if you want to get directly involved, join Metro Relief as a donor or volunteer at metrorelief.org.